What if the secret to understanding how your brain grasps reality was hiding in your kitchen? Forget flashcards or dense textbooks. Today, we're baking a no-bake cheesecake that doubles as a crash course in one of psychology's most fascinating discoveries. How does swirling lemon curd into batter prove that babies learn the world isn't magic? Spoiler, it's not about the dessert. It's about how your mind, and a child's, figures out that things exist even when you can't see. There enter Jean Piaget, the genius who mapped how humans build their understanding of reality. His concept of object permanence isn't just academic jargon. It's the reason you don't panic when your phone slips behind the couch. But here's the twist. We're proving his theory with a recipe. No oven, no stress, just layers of creamy filling that vanish, reappear, and mimic exactly how tiny brains learn the rules of existence. By the time this cheesecake chills, you'll taste more than dessert. You'll taste how cognition works, ready to crack Piaget's code, and maybe eat the evidence? Welcome to Cognitive Kitchen, where psychology meets the plate. And today we're diving into one of the most mind-bending discoveries about how humans learn. Ever heard of Jean Piaget? If not, let's fix that. He was a Swiss psychologist who cracked the code on how our brains grow from infancy to adulthood, mapping out the stages that shape every thought, every question, every aha moment you've ever had. His work explains why babies think disappearing objects vanish forever, why toddlers insist a tall glass holds more water than a short one, and how we eventually learn to see the world through someone else's eyes. But here's the twist. We're not dissecting textbooks or memorizing jargon. We're doing something far more delicious. This is cognitive cooking, a place where abstract ideas become tangible, sliceable, and yes, edible. Because the truth is, some of life's deepest truths hide in plain sight, like the bottom of a mixing bowl. Today's mission? We're tackling a cornerstone of Piaget's research, object permanence. You know how you don't panic when your phone slips behind the couch? That's object permanence at work, the understanding that things exist even when they're out of sight. But for babies under 8 months, this concept doesn't exist yet. Hide a toy, and it's gone forever. So how do we make this invisible process visible? By baking a no-bake cheesecake that hides and reveals layers, mirroring exactly how tiny minds learn reality's rules. By the end of this video, you'll have a dessert and a deeper grasp of how cognition builds itself, brick by brick, ready to cook and think like never before. Let's get started. Let's rewind to a time before language, before logic, even before the ability to understand that your phone still exists when you drop it behind the couch. This is the world of a newborn, a world where reality is constantly rewritten. Jean Piaget, the Swiss psychologist who mapped the architecture of growing minds, called the ability to grasp that hidden things still exist object permanence. It's the mental GPS that tells us objects don't vanish just because we can't see them. Without it, life would be a chaos of disappearing spoons, forgotten toys, and existential confusion about where your keys went. But here's the kicker. Babies don't start with this skill. Watch an infant under 8 months old, hide a rattle under a blanket, and they'll act as if it's gone forever. To them, out of sight literally means out of mind. Piaget proved this through experiments where he'd show a baby a toy, then cover it with a cloth. Infants younger than 8 months would stop searching entirely, as though the toy had been erased from existence. It's not that they're unaware, it's that their brains haven't yet built the neural scaffolding to track hidden objects. This milestone isn't just about peekaboo. Object permanence is the cornerstone of cognition. It's what lets toddlers hunt for a missing shoe under the bed. Teens retrace their steps to find a lost wallet, and adults trust that the sun will rise tomorrow even if it's cloudy tonight. But here's the challenge. Explaining this invisible process is tough. How do you visualize something that's, well, invisible? That's where abstract ideas often trip us up. We're wired to think in images, not abstractions. So how does a baby's brain flip this switch? Piaget's research showed that between 8 and 12 months, something clicks. A baby might accidentally nudge a blanket off a hidden toy and, boom, realize their actions can uncover hidden truths. They begin to experiment, poking, pulling, and exploring until the world becomes a predictable place. This isn't just play, it's science in action. Each tiny discovery builds the foundation for memory, problem-solving, and even symbolic thinking, the ability to imagine things that aren't physically present. The problem is, most of us only hear about object permanence in dry textbooks or dense lectures. It's described as a milestone, a theory, a checkbox in child development. But what if you could see it in action? What if you could watch the concept unfold not in a lab, but in your own kitchen? That's the magic of cognitive cooking. By the time we're done, you won't just understand object permanence, you'll have tasted it. Why does a no-bake cheesecake make the perfect metaphor for object permanence? Because it's all about what's hidden and what stays the same beneath the surface. Think about it. When we swirl lemon curd into the creamy filling, it vanishes, folded into the batter until it seems gone. But is it really? No. It's still there, hiding in plain sight, just like that rattle Piaget's baby thought had vanished under a blanket. The magic happens as the cheesecake chills. Time lets the layers settle, and the lemon curd re-emerges in soft golden streaks. Out of sight, not out of existence. That's object permanence in action. The same leap toddlers make when they realize a toy tucked under a towel hasn't disappeared. For them, it's a revelation. For us, it's dessert. This isn't just a coincidence. The cheesecake's structure forces us to trust what we can't see. You wouldn't doubt the curd is there, even when it's invisible, just as you now trust your keys exist in your bag without checking. By baking this recipe, we're not just mixing ingredients, we're mirroring the mind's journey from chaos to clarity. Every hidden layer becomes a lesson in how reality works, one slice at a time. So how does a dessert teach psychology? By proving that what's unseen still matters. Just ask Piaget, or take a bite. Let's start with the crust, your foundation. Both for the cheesecake and the concept. Grab 1.5 cups of graham cracker crumbs and 6 tablespoons of melted butter. Mix them together, and notice how the dry crumbs instantly transform, clinging to the butter like tiny puzzle pieces finding their match. This is where Piaget's sensory-motor stage sneaks in. Even as the texture changes, your brain knows the crumbs are still crumbs. They've just bonded with something new. That's the earliest form of cognition, tracking substances as they shift shape. Press the mixture firmly into your pan. Think of it as building a base for learning itself. Just as this crust holds the filling, the sensory-motor stage holds the groundwork for all future thinking. No shortcuts here. Press too lightly and the structure crumbles, much like how skipping early cognitive milestones leaves gaps in understanding. Now for the filling, 16 ounces of cream cheese, softened, meats, 1 to 2 cups of powdered sugar, and a splash of vanilla. Beat them until smooth, and watch the ingredients vanish into each other, creating something entirely unified. This blending mirrors how babies begin to coordinate senses and actions, touch, taste, motion, into cohesive experiences. What's invisible becomes visible, a creamy, spreadable truth. Here's where it gets playful. Drizzle in lemon curd. Let it spiral through the batter like a secret. Swirl it gently, watching streaks fade into the cream cheese. Pause. Did the curd disappear? Of course not. It's hiding, just like Piaget's hidden toy under a blanket, but your brain knows better. It tracks the curd's presence, even when it's out of sight. This is object permanence in its rawest form, a concept baked into every swirl. Pour the mixture over the crust and chill the cheesecake for at least 4 hours. Time becomes your ally here, letting layers settle and truths resurface. While it firms, think about how cognition works similarly. Ideas need time to solidify, to reveal their shape. Piaget's stages weren't instant revelations. They were built through patient observation, trial, and error, just like this dessert. By the time you unmold the cheesecake, the lemon curd will have re-emerged in golden ribbons, hidden then revealed, abstract then tangible. Isn't that what learning is? A process of trusting that even when things vanish, whether a spoon under a blanket or a concept in a textbook, they're still there, waiting to be discovered. Slice in and taste how psychology turns into something you can hold and savor. Now comes the moment where psychology leaps off the page and into your mixing bowl. Watch closely as we drizzle lemon curd into the creamy cheesecake filling. The golden swirls sink into the batter, blending, fading, seemingly vanishing altogether. But here's the truth. The curd isn't gone. It's hiding, folded into the mixture, waiting to resurface. This is object permanence in its purest form, a concept Piaget spent decades dissecting, now playing out in real time on your countertop. Think back to his experiments with infants. Hide a toy under a cloth and a baby under 8 months acts as though it's erased from existence. But somewhere between 8 and 12 months, something clicks. The child reaches for the hidden object, realizing that absence doesn't mean disappearance. That same revelation is happening here in this bowl. The lemon curd isn't magic, it's a lesson. You know it's there, even when it's invisible, just as you know your keys exist in your bag without checking. This isn't just mixing, it's a cognitive milestone baked into dessert. Let's slow down. As the whisk moves through the batter, notice how the curd doesn't dissolve. It disperses, streaking through the cream cheese like rivers of gold. Your brain tracks its presence instinctively, just as a toddler learns to track a hidden toy. But here's the twist. This isn't passive knowledge. It's active discovery. Every swirl, every fold, mimics the experimentation Piaget observed in babies. They poke, prod, and uncover truths about the world. You're doing the same, just with a spatula instead of tiny fingers. Now, pour the mixture over the crust. The E. Curd disappears entirely, swallowed by the creamy expanse. Pause here. This is the moment of uncertainty, the same one that fascinated Piaget. For an infant, this is the blank slate, a chance to either surrender to confusion or grasp that hidden things persist. For you, it's a test of trust. You know the curd is there, even if you can't see it. That trust? It's built over years of experience, just like a child's understanding of reality. But what happens next? Time becomes your collaborator. Chill the cheesecake for 4 hours and watch what unfolds. As the filling sets, the lemon curd begins to rise, resurfacing in soft, luminous ribbons. Out of sight, not out of existence. It's a quiet miracle, one that mirrors how cognition itself works. Ideas settle, layers emerge, and what was once invisible becomes undeniable. Piaget's insight wasn't just about babies, it was about how all of us learn to navigate a world that constantly hides its truths. Here's the kicker. This isn't a coincidence. The cheesecake structure forces you to confront the same questions Piaget posed. How do we know something exists when it's hidden? Why do we trust that processes unfold even when we're not watching? Every time you open the fridge to check, on the dessert, you're echoing a child's curiosity, prodding, testing, confirming. The difference is, your reward is edible. By the time you unmold the cheesecake, the connection crystallizes. The golden swirls aren't just decoration, they're proof of persistence. Hidden layers become visible again, just as a baby learns to search under blankets, just as you trust your phone exists in your pocket. Object permanence isn't just a theory, it's the glue that holds reality together. And here it is, baked into every bite. So how does a dessert teach psychology? By making the invisible visible, by proving that some truths don't vanish just because they're out of sight. Take a slice and taste the answer. Now comes the final act, patience. Slide the cheesecake into the fridge and let time work its quiet magic. As it chills, something subtle happens. The lemon curd, once swirled into invisibility, begins to settle. It doesn't vanish, it resurfaces, tracing golden ribbons through the cream cheese like secrets refusing to stay hidden. This isn't just about texture, it's about trust. Just as Piaget's toddlers learn to search under blankets, you've learned to trust that hidden things persist. The cheesecake is proof. 4 hours later, the moment arrives. Run a warm towel around the pan's edge, then release the springform clasp. Invert the cake onto a serving plate with a gentle twist. The crust holds firm, the filling gleams smooth, and there, peeking through the surface, are those unmistakable streaks of lemon, hidden then revealed. Out of sight, not out of existence. Object permanence, baked into every layer. Slice through the cake. The knife glides, unveiling the curds. Hidden path. Pause here. Isn't this how cognition works? A baby's mind, like this dessert, builds itself in stages. First, the foundation, sensory motor exploration, the crumbs pressed into the crust. Then, the leap, realizing that what's hidden still exists, just as the curd reappears after swirling, chilling, waiting. Every step mirrors a child's journey from chaos to clarity. Take a bite. The tang of lemon cuts through the richness, a reminder that learning often hides in unexpected places. But here's the deeper truth. This isn't just dessert. It's a timeline of cognitive growth. The crust, stability, the filling, adaptation, the curd, the persistence of knowledge even when it feels lost. So what did the cheesecake teach us? That object permanence isn't just a baby's milestone. It's a lifelong skill. You trust your phone exists in your bag. You trust the sun will rise tomorrow. You trust that mixing cream cheese and lemon curd can turn invisible effort into something tangible, delicious, and deeply understood. And now the final question, will you ever look at a slice of cheesecake the same way again? Probably not. Because now you know psychology tastes better with a fork. So here's the thing. This cheesecake isn't just dessert. It's a timeline of how minds grow. By now you've seen how a swirl of lemon curd vanishes into batter, only to resurface. Hours later, a golden reminder that disappearance isn't the same as erasure. That's object permanence in its purest form. Piaget's genius wasn't just about babies. It's about how all of us learn to trust that hidden things still exist. Whether it's your phone buried in your bag, a childhood memory tucked in your brain, or the quiet confidence that the sun will rise tomorrow even if clouds hide it today, this principle shapes how we navigate reality. But here's the deeper layer. This recipe didn't just mimic object permanence, it mirrored the entire process of learning. Think about it. When you pressed the crust into the pan, you built a foundation, just like infants build their earliest understanding of the world through touch and trial. When you folded the lemon curd into the filling, you trusted it was still there even when invisible. Just like toddlers learn to trust that a hidden toy hasn't vanished. And when you chilled the cheesecake, you let time do its work, much like how cognition itself develops. Slowly, invisibly, until one day, the layers reveal themselves. Learning isn't a lightning strike. It's a slow churn, a patient unfolding, a lot like baking. This is why Piaget's work matters. He showed us that understanding isn't innate. It's constructed step by step, through experiments we call mistakes, and moments we call aha. The cheesecake is just a metaphor, but it's a delicious one. It proves that even the most abstract ideas can stick when you knead them into something tangible. Did this hack make Piaget click? Or did you already have your own object permanence? Moments, like realizing a loved one exists even when they're out of sight, or trusting a skill lives on in your brain even if you haven't used it in years. And if you've got a toddler at home, try this. Hide a snack under a napkin and watch their eyes light up when they find it. That's Piaget in action. That's the same spark that turned this cheesecake from mystery to masterpiece. So, what other concepts deserve a culinary twist? Conservation, egocentrism. Drop your thoughts below. Let's keep cooking through the chaos of cognition, one recipe at a time. Because here's the truth. Learning tastes better when you can eat it. Thanks for cooking with us. If your brain just got a little sharper and your taste buds a little happier, you're not alone. This is what happens when psychology meets the plate. Ideas that once felt abstract become something you can hold, slice, and savor. By now you've got a no-bake cheesecake that's proof of concept, a dessert that mirrors how minds grow, and a new way to think about reality's hidden rules. But here's the real question. Did this change how you see learning? Because that's what cognitive cooking is all about, turning I don't get it into oh now I get it. Whether you're a parent, a student, or just someone who loves dessert and a good mental workout, this is your invitation to rethink how we absorb big ideas. So if this video made Piaget stick, or if you're just thrilled you have a reason to eat lemon-swirled evidence, hit like. If you're ready for more lessons that taste better than flashcards, hit subscribe. And if you ever wondered whether your kitchen could double as a classroom, well, now you know. Tagline: Cognitive Kitchen. where minds melt into flavor. See you next time when we tackle another Piagetian puzzle, one recipe at a time. Stay curious, stay hungry, and keep proving that the best way to learn is by doing and eating.